Today's episode of Marijuana Today Daily is brought to you by our friends over at Ease, California's top one-stop website for legal marijuana delivery. When you browse and shop on Ease, you know you're always going to be in compliance with California's state cannabis law, as Ease has done the legwork to encode the different rules and regulations for marijuana delivery found around the state right into their system. Open up ease.com to check out your local options. And if you're not in California, zip over to ease.com/blog for their recently produced guides to California legal marijuana. Once again, that's ease.com, which is spelled E-A-Z-E. Ease.com/blog. Good morning, Marijuana Nation. It's Wednesday, January 17th, 2018, and you're tuned in to episode 411 of Marijuana Today Daily. I'm your host, Shay Gunther, and I'll be walking you through today's marijuana news and headlines. As always, we have a full and busy day of cannabis news in our hands, so let's jump right into it. Our top story of the day is a letter sent to congressional leaders yesterday, signed by 20 of the nation's states' attorneys general, asking that legislation be advanced protecting the ability of banks to offer services to state legal marijuana businesses. Specifically referenced in the letter as a bill worthy of passage is the SAFE Banking Act, a proposed measure introduced by Colorado Representative Ed Perlmutter that carves out protections for banks doing business with the legal marijuana industry. That bill has picked up 64 co-sponsors in the House and is paired with a similar measure in the Senate that was introduced last year by Colorado Senators Michael Bennet and Cory Gardner. Open up the Cannabist to read the full letter and to see the list of which attorneys general signed on. On a personal note, I'm happy to see Maine Attorney General Janet Mills on the list. Speaking of my home state, Maine state lawmakers voted yesterday to delay allowing for the licensing of social marijuana clubs for 5 years, pushing the idea back to 2023. By a count of 5-1, members of the State Legislative Implementation Committee embraced the idea of leading from behind, saying that they would prefer not to be the first state opening up legal social cannabis use. The ever-present shadow of Maine Governor Paul LePage and his prohibitionist veto stamp also looms, with lawmakers saying they thought avoiding social use would make it easier for LePage to sign off on. A final vote on the legislation isn't expected until next month, so it's possible things could change for Maine social use, something we'll keep a sharp eye on. Our final top story of the day is the reaction to a letter released yesterday written by Veterans Affairs Secretary David Shulkin, in which he rejects a request made by House Democrats to study the medical efficacy of using marijuana to treat various medical ailments. Secretary Shulkin blamed the fact that marijuana is a Schedule I drug as justification for the research blackout, but as we've touched on before on our weekly show Marijuana Today, there's nothing actually in federal law stopping the VA from looking into how cannabis could help veteran patients, something a group of Democratic lawmakers pointed out in a follow-up letter sent yesterday, asking the VA for clarification on their commitment to researching medical cannabis. Those are our top stories for today. It's time for Marijuana Today Daily Headlines Blitz. Before we blitz out on headlines, let's quickly thank our sponsor, Ease, California's top one-stop website for legal marijuana delivery. Regular listeners to this podcast know that things are still a little chaotic when it comes to California's legal marijuana industry, what with adult use marijuana only being legal now for just a couple of weeks. And since every town and municipality around the state has different rules and laws about how people can get cannabis, it can be confusing to figure out what your local options are for buying top quality marijuana. That's where Ease comes in. They partner up with top dispensaries in their active areas who offer quality products at great prices, all delivered right to your door. And since the Ease system knows all the different rules for where marijuana delivery is allowed around California, you'll always be in compliance with state law when you order through ease.com, which again is spelled E-A-Z-E, ease.com. When you want to order legal marijuana in the Golden State, you want ease.com. All right, time for the blitz. Yesterday, New York Governor Andrew Cuomo announced the formation of an advisory panel to study the question of legalizing the adult use of marijuana. The governor said, quote, "I think we should fund the Department of Health to do a study, let them work with the state police, other agencies, look at the health impact, the economic impact, the state of the law. If it were legalized in Jersey and it was legal in Massachusetts and the federal government allowed it to go ahead, what would that do to New York because it's right in the middle?" Unquote. We'll keep an eye on this one. Nevada's tax commission just voted to make permanent a set of rules governing their state's marijuana industry. The commission voted 8-0 yesterday in favor of 258 pages of rules covering everything from licensing to how businesses like dispensaries and cultivators operate. Stephen Hoffman, chair of the Massachusetts Cannabis Control Commission, had an insightful observation recently about the effects of Attorney General Jeff Sessions rescinding the Colo memo when he pointed out that the current disconnect between state and federal cannabis law is one of the main reasons why industry investors have such large potential financial upsides. Mr. Hoffman made the remarks during an appearance on a TV show on WGBH last week, where he also stated that his commission was moving ahead with its work to roll out adult use marijuana. The Phoenix New-Times has a good piece up looking at a number of proposed bills in the Arizona state legislature that seek to impose outrageous restrictions on legal marijuana with the not-so-subtle aim of undercutting the industry. Introduced by prohibitionist lawmaker David Farnsworth, one such measure would make it a felony for publishers to list the incorrect address of a legal marijuana dispensary, with the definition of a publisher being any business entity with 2 or more employees. Another would charge doctors who recommend medical marijuana fraudulently with a felony. Swing over to the Phoenix New-Times for the full read on this one, and never forget that the prohibitionists are still out there, even as the tide turns against them. Marijuana Business Daily's John Schroyer has another good dispatch from California, this time looking at how the state's entrenched cultivation community is handling the transition to fully legalized marijuana. Open this one up for the full read. As always, we have all the news we cover linked to on our website at mjtodaydaily.com and on our Twitter account at mjtodaydaily. A study out of Colorado suggests that houses located near adult-use marijuana dispensaries rose in value faster than houses just a little farther down the road. It's important to note that the study was fairly limited in its reach and scope, but it does offer good incentive for further research into the effect. And finally for today, the state of New Jersey has a new governor, with the disgraced Chris Christie slinking off into the swamps to be replaced by Democrat Phil Murphy, who was sworn into office yesterday and who pledged to legalize adult-use marijuana as part of his inaugural address. Open up Tom Angel's piece on Marijuana Moment for the full read on this one, as well as a video of Governor Murphy's inauguration. Those are the headlines and news for the day. I'll be back with you again tomorrow morning with another information-packed episode of Marijuana Today Daily. But in the meantime, if you have any stories to share or feedback to give, zip us an email to headlines@mjtodaydaily.com. And while you're clicking around the interwebs, swing over to our Twitter account at mjtodaydaily and visit our website at mjtodaydaily.com to find links to all the news we cover. Thanks to our sponsor, Ease, and to all of our awesome patron listeners for the support that makes this show possible. To join the illustrious ranks of the patron listeners yourself, swing over to our website at mjtodaydaily.com and click on that big blue button at the top of the page that says, Become a Patron. I'm your host, Shay Gunther. Thanks for tuning in and starting your day with Marijuana Today. Today.
One take, Shay. One take.